seeds, fruits, nuts, and seeds.
Chapati, thank you for teaching us to be healthy.
The energy that I feel with these meals.
Chapati, that was really yummy.
Like a kid with new toys. Health is my greatest joy. Come and see, come and be with our host Chapati.
Hello and welcome back to Food with Life. You're getting a bit about, we talked about aging. I know what's very significant is as we get older, our skin begins to break down. The dermis and the epidermis and the points of them coming together or staying apart. Explain a little bit about that and why that is.
There's several reasons, and I would like to explain that. But could I back up a little
Yes,
bit
yes,
so
please
we can
do.
set the stage for this a little more?
Please
because
do.
We're getting back more to the global idea of aging.
Mm-hmm.
Because why does a baby look so healthy and the skin looks so great and everything's working, and why when you take a 90-year-old it is not?
Right.
What is happening? We always say, well, you're getting old, but what does well, you're getting old mean? Well, what it really means, I think is pretty well established. There is a change in the viability, that means the liveliness of our DNA. If that gets disturbed and broken apart over time, things break down. Okay? Because the DNA is in charge of our cell's integrity to maintain everything inside of it as well as it's dividing. Well, we know that there are certain caps on the ends of the DNA. These are two molecules entwined, think like a piece of twine around each other. I don't know if you eat these chapati, but I cheat sometimes. I will have a nice caramel.
Oh, I don't
Even
mind.
if you haven't eaten caramels, do you remember what they look
Yes,
like?
yes, yes.
Think about the wrapping around the caramel
Right.
and how it's twisted on the ends.
Mm-hmm.
The DNA is the caramel inside of the wrapping.
Oh.
The covering and the twisting around the end are the telomeres. Telomeres are very, very important for the stability of the DNA.
Right.
The longer the telomere is, the more compact and well kept the DNA is. As we get older, those telomeres slowly get chopped away. Oxidative hits and so forth
That's
break
why.
them down.
The oxidation.
We know there's a linear, meaning direct relationship between the length of our telomeres and their aging process. Think of people like cigarette smokers who get very aged skin.
Right.
And so it's not just from squinting from the smoke. There's truly advanced aging. That is because it's a terrific oxidative stress on the body constantly, and those telomeres are very short. These can be measured. Now, they recently did a study. It's an ongoing study. It's been going since 1976.
Can you tell me more about that after this break?
Sure.
I want to
absolutely.
listen to this acutely. Stay with us. This is Food with Life. We'll be right back with our guest, Dr. Stephen Grayback. Welcome back to Food with Life. I'm your host, Chapati, with our special guest, Dr. Stephen Grayback, cardiologist. You were touching a bit about telomere length. Can we get into this very briefly?
Sure. The telomere length, the telomeres, as we said, are responsible for preserving the integrity
Yes.
of our DNA. They're like little tails on either end that keep it from unraveling. As we get older, they get shorter and shorter and shorter. Lots of reasons that happens, but they get shorter. And shorter telomeres, more aging. We know that. They did a recent study, came out. It wasn't a recent study. It's a study been going on for about 40 years, studying over 17,000 nurses from the United States. They have detailed diet histories, everything on them, so it's a data mine. You can get all kinds of things out of this because you studied these people for a long time. And what they did was very interesting. We can measure telomere length in blood samples. And they did a 1 to 9 point basis for Mediterranean scale. on these people that they selected out of the study.
Mhm.
1 meaning you're eating Big Macs and everything else and terrible diet, and 9 meaning perfect Mediterranean diet. And then all numbers in between. They found a direct linear relationship between the length of the telomeres and the closer adherence to a Mediterranean diet. This is pretty neat stuff. And olive oil is a major component of the Mediterranean diet.
Right.
So I think it, for the first time, tells us why longevity exists in certain countries that have such a high intake.
We're dousing the system with polyphenol. That's how I see it.
Exactly.
You know,
I think I would agree with you.
You know, FDA should do detailed studies on that, on polyphenols. Maybe they thought about that.
Well,
I don't
actually,
know.
this is opening the gates for more studies going on.
Right, right. Now I know as we grow older, the skin breaks down, and I know myself. When I take olive oil, I take 1 or 2 tablespoons a day. My skin is like glass. It's elastic. There's no sense of aging. When I cut back on the olive oil after a couple days, I notice it's very old looking.
Well, olive oil can protect the skin 2 ways, both from the inside and from the outside. The inside, of course, we've gone over and over this polyphenol message. It's a recurring theme.
Right.
This anti-inflammation, antioxidant. And sunlight on skin really causes aging. It's a tremendous initiator of oxidative stress and skin and ultraviolet damage. But also, just putting olive oil on skin has been used for centuries, actually millennia, by different cultures, because it is a wonderfully moisturizing oil, but also has all those polyphenols that cuts down the superficial inflammation that we know is involved with aging and different problems. So it's a tonic from the inside, it's a tonic from the outside.
I know it's rich in vitamin A, vitamin D.
It has a lot of vitamin E in it.
E, okay, but
It's got a lot of vitamin E and antioxidants in it, and it's got omegas, beneficial omegas.
Good. So when we have oil, people take olive oil, they buy it in a store. Should they just buy any brand of olive oil, or buy any? Should they read the label, or when it was produced? You know, where it came from. What do you recommend?
It's excellent points you're bringing up, because this is crucial. We know all these goodies about olive oil, but an olive oil is not just an olive oil. First off, you want to start with an oil that's been stored properly, and that should be in a dark bottle, not a clear bottle.
It is. Wonderful product. Dark bottle. Not clear. Like this. Yeah?
That's right.
Yeah.
Secondly, you want to keep it in a cool, dark place when you get it home. Not necessarily, in fact, not in the refrigerator, but a cool, dark place. Thirdly, you would like to look for a harvest date if it exists on the label. You should not get an oil, if possible, that's more than 2 years out from a harvest date, preferably within 1 year of a harvest date, because those polyphenols themselves gradually go down in the oil. Okay. Then we get into extra virgin olive oils.
Now, a question. There are oils. There's a mill I know that they harvest it and they want it pressed within 12 hours after it was picked. What's the reason behind this?
It's got to be milled very quickly, and the reason is the clock for the integrity of that oil starts ticking the minute that olive's picked off the tree. The olive's taken off the tree, it starts to use up its polyphenols. You want to get that in the mill as quickly as possible.
Right away.
Yeah.
Okay.
So milling and storing are very, very important.
And the different types of oil. There's virgin, extra virgin, there's pumice oil. Tell me very quickly.
Okay, very quickly, extra virgin olive oil, by definition, can only be pressed using mechanical means. It cannot be expelled by chemical means at all. There can never be any heat applied to it during the process. And in this state, to be certified, there are certain chemical analyses. In fact, around the world there is a chemical criteria, although it's not always adhered to internationally, of what an extra virgin olive oil should be. So there are several different criteria, and in the state of California, there's also has to pass taste tests too. So it has to taste like it, not just chemically look like it. It's got to taste like it.
Okay.
So it's a very stringent criteria.
Right. Good. So imperative to keep it in our diet and do the right olive oil makes the best impact.
Yeah, I'd look for an extra virgin, realizing that some extra virgins are not what they're advertised to be.
Yeah.
You know, certainly many of the international ones have been found not to be extra virgin when they have it on the label.
Okay.
Virgin olive oil is really, when you're through milling, you've got this sticky,
Right.
pommacy stuff, and it's got a lot of oil in it, and they'll put it through a chemical bath like hexane or benzene to try to extract that oil out. Oof. And then you get this pure, colorless, odorless oil, and they put in about 10% of real olive oil back into it, extra virgin, to give it a little taste. That's a very cheap product. That's why just olive oil or light olive oil is cheap.
Okay.
It's a refined oil, and you've lost most of the health benefits with it.
I can't say anything more, but thank you. What you've given us is wisdom and brilliant knowledge. I want to thank you very much. My honor to have you here on Food with
It's
Life.
been my pleasure, and thank you so much.
And we'll be in touch sooner or later with olive oil.
All righty. Thank you.
This is Food with Life with our wonderful guest, Dr. Stephen Grayback, who's given us a world of information about olive oil. Stay well, and eat the proper and the best olive oil, and it'll help you very much. I am your host, Chapati. This is Food with Life. We'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.